come with me to paint all three of my doors on my pink Airbnb. We are going to be painting the front door, the middle door, and the back door. And we're going to be painting them front and back. And you can guess what color we're going to use. We are going to be doing a pink, and I cannot wait for you guys to see the final product. But definitely make sure that you stay along for the whole thing because I'm going to be breaking down a lot of things that helped me, and I think will definitely help you guys along the way. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, first, we're going to start with the front door. And again, I will say that I have a lot of experience in painting. I was in the Navy, and basically all I did every day was paint. And so, painting is not something that is foreign to me, but it is something that I haven't done in a really long time. So, of course, getting back into it, I kind of had to brush off the rust and really just familiarize myself with the process. And honestly, it was a great time for me. Like, I really do enjoy painting. And unlike my previous career, with what I'm doing now, I can paint the exact colors that I want and I can really bring my visions to life. And so, I will go ahead and show you guys. I'll show you guys the can of paint that I used a little bit later. I forgot to get a close up in the beginning, but I am using a Sherman-Williams paint. And I like Sherman-Williams because I'm a very big quality over quantity person, especially when you're doing housing projects. I think that it's really important for you to use something that you know is really going to work and you really know it's going to benefit you and you know that it's going to be good quality and you're not going to have to go back and do it again and again and again. So, as you guys can see, two of my doors are white and this door is a dark green. And so, I was actually really unsure with how the color was going to look, but it really turned out good. And I also had already kind of done the prep work at this point. So, you guys will see a lot of prep work throughout these painting videos, but if you guys want like a very detailed video on how to prep, just let me know because I do not play about prep. I think prep is one of the most important things because if you don't prep properly, then it really just costs you time. It can make a mess. You could be ultimately wasting resources. And so I really try and make sure that I prep really, really well. But again, sometimes I do fall short as I've expanded in my projects and knowledge and things like that. And so I would definitely say prep is something that you always can do great, but you can always do, you can always get a lot better. So, again, this is me applying the first coat of pink on the dark green. And again, I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but the quality of the paint was honestly so good that it just made it so easy for me to apply. Like, as soon as I started to put it on, I knew I was like, oh, yeah, I could totally do two coats. So, I ended up doing a first coat on the first side. And basically, what I like to do is I like to do a first coat and I like to allow it to dry for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then I will go ahead and do the other side. And that's just, again, like when it comes to painting, you don't want to rush, right? So if you're the type of person who just doesn't have a lot of patience, or if you just really don't enjoy doing projects like these, like if you just want to see the finished result, I would definitely recommend hiring a professional. But if you're someone who just is crafty and you have the right mindset for this, I would definitely say go for it because, I've had a time doing it. And I would just really love painting. I really love transforming spaces. And it's something that I've always loved to do. I just guess, as I've gotten older and my self awareness, it's just something that I've really leaned into. So this is how it looks after the first coat. And again, I'm not necessarily looking for perfection during the first coat. I'm really just looking for like an even base that I can work with. And by the time it dries, I kind of know like exactly what it is that I need to be filling in. So after I let the first side dry, I will go ahead and switch over to the other side and I'll basically just repeat the process. I'll make sure that I give it a nice even coat. I'll make sure that I cover all of my bases and, I'll also just remember to have fun with it, right? Another thing that I will encourage is if you just don't feel yourself up to completing the project or getting into the project, do not get into it. You need to make sure that your mindset is right. You need to make sure that you are well rested and you're drinking your water, you're stretching, and you're really taking care of yourself because these projects are quite laborious and you just don't want to tire out in the middle of painting because once you set up, once you prep, once you do everything, it's very difficult to kind of pick up mid project, especially depending on what it is that you're painting. So, something like a door, I really want to go ahead and get that done. I really want to go ahead and get it completed. And then, at least once it's done, it's done. I can rest and I don't feel like something is just so incomplete. Um, that I have to try and go back in and fill it in or fix it because the colors are uneven, because it dried uneven, and you just don't want to put yourself through that. So I would say if your mindset is not in it that day, definitely do not get into it. Like if you feel like you're not going to finish, if you feel like you're going to tire out, definitely just make sure to give yourself a break. So again, I repeated the process. I allowed it to dry on the back side, and then I just went back in on the front side and I just applied the second coat. And as you guys can see, with the second coat being applied, you can really see the colors starting to come to life. And you guys, when I tell you I love these freaking doors, like I love them so much. I think the color is so freaking beautiful. And, I just think that it's really vibrant, and I could just really see the color come to life once the second coat started to dry. And, that's really a big motivating factor, right? Like, I really enjoy doing a great job. Like I enjoy doing a great job. And that is why the mindset matters because look at that, y'all. Like, look at that door. It is so freaking beautiful. And so, again, after I finished the second coat, I just allowed it to dry. And then I did the exact same thing on the other side. I just made sure that I gave it a nice, even coat. I will say that the lighting, make sure your lighting is right because I really had to make sure that I got the other side because the lighting was so much different on the back side than the front side. But nonetheless, I definitely still got the job done because again, I've painted before, so I know what it looks like when it's even, and I just have a good eye for these things. So I would definitely say just make sure your mindset is right, and just make sure you're paying attention and making sure that you have an even application. So when it dries, like it dries evenly. But again, this is what the second coat looks like, and now it's just time for touch ups.